Hello again, long time no see. It's only been what, like 12 months after I said that I was gonna make videos to challenge my perfectionism, but then the perfectionism got too much, so I just didn't do that. Anyway, nearly a whole year later, here for my second video. So in January, I sold nearly everything I owned, I packed up what remained, and I moved myself to the UK for 6 months for a semester exchange. And then I solo backpacked through Europe for the rest of the year, and I got home 3 weeks ago. And as a Gen Zer who grew up in the wake of Eat, Pray, Love and has been exposed to that absolute onslaught of before and after backpacking TikToks to that sped up Noah Khan song, I thought I would come back hotter, healthier, happier, more tanned, fundamentally changed as a person, spiritually enlightened, and like maybe I'd reach nirvana or something. Turns out I came back just as Neve, but as Neve who went traveling this year. And while one explanation for that might be that I am the hottest, healthiest, happiest, most spiritually enlightened person on the planet, and there is no improving upon this fine specimen, some would argue that it is actually because solo travel is incredibly romanticized. And in a world of comparison and social media, there is a huge pressure for your travel experiences to be chock-a-block full of profound moments, deep connections, and realizations about yourself, the world, and your place in it. And while those moments do happen, much of solo travel can be scary, lonely, and disappointing. Mate, if I have to eat one more boiled egg, I swear to God, this is so grim. And surprisingly mundane, especially if you're traveling long term, because travel will just become your daily routine, and humans adapt surprisingly quickly to new realities. But although I did not find nirvana in Europe, I had a fabulous time and I learnt a lot about myself and about the world. And today I wanted to share the top 10 most personally impactful lessons that solo travel taught me. So without further rambling, let's get into it. So public service announcement, you have to pack yourself into your suitcase too. Or as per the popular saying, wherever you go, there you are. And I went to England and there I was. I had this expectation that when I moved overseas, it would be like a fresh slate. I would be the most outgoing, adventurous, spontaneous version of myself. And no, I wasn't. I moved from Australian summer to the height of English winter. The sun was rising at 8:30 and setting at 4:30 p.m. I had no friends and I was depressed, and I felt really annoyed at myself for bringing all the crap versions, or what I think are the crap versions of myself, to England with me, because I was like, right, I'm moving overseas and I'm gonna be the best Neve there ever was. Turns out moving overseas is really difficult, and I had to leave my support system behind, and it was winter. The pressure that I was putting on myself to be this best version of myself, and the guilt that I felt for not showing up as her, only compounded how crappy I was feeling. There's a great SNL skit about going traveling in hopes that it's gonna fix you or fix how you feel. I think that this was a real wake-up call on the need for self-compassion and acceptance, because it was the only thing that helped. Very much leading on from the first lesson of you take your crap with you, is travel will not heal you, but it very much could be a catalyst. Take that ownership back, because it's not the travel that's going to heal you, it's you who is going to heal you. Also, it doesn't have to heal you. Take that pressure off yourself. You do not need to come back a healed version of yourself if you're going traveling. You absolutely do not. Also, really, really hard to do self-healing work while you're traveling. It's a lot, but the lessons that you learn while you're traveling, you can absolutely come back with and reflect on and implement those into your life. I know that that's kind of how it is for me. I thought that I would just totally be healed while I was traveling, and it didn't feel like that at all. It felt like I was learning lots and lots of really hard lessons a lot of the time. It is different for everyone. You might have a totally different experience, but I think that the lesson is still the same, in that whether or not you do feel like you're getting healed while traveling, it's not the travel that's healing you, it's you. And it's you in those different circumstances, and it's the fact that maybe you don't have the pressures of work and you have this space to really truly delve into that. Still, it is you who is healing you. But I do think that travel is a fabulous catalyst for self-improvement. Number 3 is that solo travel is such a fabulous way to fine-tune your internal compass. If you're solo traveling or traveling in general, you will be exposed to so many new things and so many different ways of life. And by taking a moment to kind of reflect on how you feel about those things, you will be provided with so much valuable information on what you like, what you don't like, what your values are, what excites you in life. When you're on your own and you're moving around all the time and you're not in your comfort zone, being able to listen to how you feel is so important. And then taking that skill and applying it to your life is invaluable, absolutely invaluable. And I think that solo travel is one of the quickest ways to hone this skill. And so on that note, do lots and lots and lots of reflecting while you're traveling. Make it part of your practice. How did I feel about that place? What did I like about it? What did I not like about it? Does that give me any information about where I might like to go next or what I might like to do in my life? So number 4 is one that I think is probably true for a lot of people, but hit me particularly hard. And that is the importance of community and familiarity. So I learned pretty quickly that while I have a lot of fun and I get a lot of joy out of meeting new people, I actually have a need for consistent community, for seeing the same people on an ongoing basis, for building connections over time with the same people. And I took that on board and it impacted how I traveled. So rather than hopping around really quickly, I stayed in one place for longer so that I got to know the people who were working at my hostel. I got to see and do things with the same people for a couple of days or a couple of weeks in a row. And that was really important to me. And also, I really, really, really missed a lot of what was going on at home. Speaking to other travelers, there were some people who kind of understood how I was feeling, but lots of the feedback that I got was, home will still be there when you get back. And while that is true, I really value consistently showing up for and being in my community. So although I did get back and not a lot had changed, I realized how important it is for me to see my friends every week. That is just something that I value in my life. And that's really good to know, because that, again, coming off of lesson number 3, fine-tuning your internal compass, this is something that is really high up on my values list. And I actually learned that through traveling, and I can now implement that into my life and live a life that aligns with my value for community and familiarity. Lesson number 5 is the importance of leaning on other people. And this was a tough pill for me to swallow. The truth of the matter is that the cost of hyper-independence is loneliness. I have come to find this is not the optimal way to live your life. It is not the optimal way to connect with people, and also doesn't always get you the best outcome. There was a few experiences that I had traveling where I had to depend on other people. I had to ask other people for help. Every single time I had to rely on somebody else while I was traveling, my experiences were so much more vibrant and enjoyable and connected and rewarding. Without fail, if I asked somebody for advice or if I asked somebody for help, every single time I had to lean on somebody while I was traveling, my experience was better off for it. And this is a lesson that I really, really, really want to take with me moving forward, because we've become such a hyper-independent and atomized society that I think we forget how to depend on other people. But I'm getting a little bit emotional. I think that our interdependence is just part of what makes us human, and it makes being a human so much more beautiful. So lean on others and let others lean on you. Lesson number 6 is that life is a create your own adventure game. I met so many people doing so many bizarre different things while I was traveling. There were so many people who'd booked a one-way ticket and had taken the most amazing routes and journeys and had met people who'd linked them up to jobs over here. I was blown away by the unlimited number of things that are possible out there. Think of something, there is somebody doing it. I think that it is really easy when you are in the town where you grew up, where everybody's doing very similar things and feel like you're on one path, to think, I can't do that. But you so can. You can just pack up your life, run to another country, change your name. Like, I know we joke about that stuff, but you can actually do that if you want to. Having experienced traveling makes me feel so much more grounded, funnily enough, in the fact that I am not stuck. Traveling will make you realize that you are not stuck anywhere or on any one path, and all of life's possibilities will just come into view. Lesson 7 is to start before you have it all figured out. I have wanted to travel for so long, but it always felt like a pipe dream. It always felt like something that I was never actually going to do or ever actually be capable of doing. There was so many things keeping me bogged down, especially the finances. I got so bogged down trying to figure out how much it would cost me and how much money I needed to save, and the number that I came out with was astronomical and unachievable. And then a few things changed in my life that really just pushed me to do it. I was like, right, it's now or never. I'm going or I'm never going to go. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how much money I'm going to spend. I had enough that felt safe for me. I went over with 20,000 Australian dollars, and that had to get me through exchange and then travel, and it was tight, but I just figured it out. I had this moment while I was traveling where I was figuring out my budget. I was trying to keep my spending to 100 Australian dollars a day, which I found very difficult, but it flashed me back to a time when I was sitting down and trying to figure out a hypothetical budget for traveling. And I was thinking about different daily spends and like how I was going to budget this money and how I was going to save this money. It felt so out of reach and so impossible. And I just had this moment of like, oh my God, I did it. Here I am, budgeting on the go, figuring it out. I did the thing. Once upon a time, I was budgeting in my room, and now I'm budgeting on a Flixbus to Albania. And none of that would have happened if I tried to have it all figured out before I went. Take the leap, man. And that goes for so many things. It goes for this YouTube channel. I spend so long trying to have everything figured out, and that is why this is my second video 12 months after my first one. Sometimes you just have to start before you have it all figured out. Lesson number 8 is the art of remembering. So when you're traveling for an extended period of time, you're moving around from place to place in pretty quick succession, which means that you will find people and places that you love, and you have to leave them over and over and over again. And I think it's a pretty unique experience in life in that way. There's not many other things where you meet people and find places that absolutely just set you alight, and then you have to leave them a week later and then rinse and repeat ongoing. And it is hard. It is really sad, especially when you meet somebody or find a place where you feel really at home. It's really difficult to leave that, but you kind of build a muscle for it. At one point while I was traveling, I had to leave somebody who I'd just met, who I had a really fabulous time with. And at the start, I felt so sad about it, but then I started to find some acceptance in the experience, and I wrote this. This is the journal that I kept while I was traveling. I want to remember it all, but I know that I won't. I'm already forgetting the words that we shared and the feelings I had, and one day I might forget it all. But that's why I am alive, to forget and remember and forget and remember. How wonderful that I get to spend the rest of my life rediscovering the beauty of love and touch and connection. So I really had this sense of, I am going to forget all of this, and one day I will remember in a new place with new people. It was so evident to me while I was traveling because I was in this really repetitive cycle of losing things and places and finding them again and losing joy and finding it again and losing love and finding it again. And it just felt like this really obvious lesson of it's okay because it's all coming back again. It had me reflecting on like why we forget things at all. And I think it is by design, because the act of remembering things is just so joyful. Remembering joy and remembering connection and remembering what it's like to have a conversation with someone where you're just like, you get me. It is all consuming, and it is such a joyful, wonderful experience, and you wouldn't get that if we didn't forget it first. I don't know if any of that made sense, but I feel it so deeply, and I tried my very best to convey it to you. Lesson number 9 is that you live in your mind first and the world second. For me, it is about perspective. You could be traveling the world, and if your perspective is focusing on the things that are really hard and the things that you miss about home and the ways in which you're struggling and not showing up as your best self, and if I sound like I'm speaking from experience, it's because I am, you're not going to have a good time. Or if you are at home in a very mundane season of your life, but you are so focused on the things that bring you joy and the things that are pleasant in your life and the things that you are interested in, I can tell you where I'd rather be. Your perspective and what you focus on is the ultimate lens through which you view your life. And that's it. A simple one really, but a tough one to enact. A perspective change, a true ongoing perspective change, can be really difficult, and it comes with a lot of practice, and it is a lifelong journey. But it doesn't matter where you are in the world or what you are doing. If you only think about your shortcomings, if you only think about the way you don't scratch up to other people, if you only think about the things that are going wrong, you will never be content. With all the money in the world, in the most beautiful places in the world, with the best friends in the world, it just doesn't matter, because you live in your mind first and the world second. The lesson that I'm going to leave you with is that your travel experiences will be as unique as you. Do not compare your experiences traveling or yourself in any regard to other people or to what you see on social media. Whether you are having the time of your life or you're not, whether you are getting hot, healthy and tanned and spiritually enlightened or you're not, your travel experiences are valuable. They don't need to look like anybody else's other than your own. Just let it be. Seriously, just let it be. We really do romanticize solo travel online, and it often looks one kind of way, and the chances are that your travel experience won't look like it. Reflecting on my travels and the lessons that I was learning, even in times that felt really hard, has really helped me to feel compassionate towards myself and to own my experiences. And if you cannot travel or you don't want to travel, also don't compare yourself to what you see online, because it is very rarely an accurate representation of what those people are going through. That goes for all of social media, the things that you see online, but also for traveling. People who travel are not better than people who do not travel. They are not more wise, they are not more enlightened, they are not more experienced or free-spirited. They've just gone traveling. Travel is a wonderful tool to learn about yourself and to learn about the world and to have a lot of fun, but there is so many other tools and there is so many other ways to learn about yourself and to learn about the world and to have a lot of fun. Some people that I met while I was traveling were incredibly closed-minded, and the act of going traveling didn't enlighten them. So, bottom line, stop comparing yourself. You're wonderful as you are. Now, these 10 lessons were ones that were personally really impactful, and they were lessons that I learned on my journey, and they're going to be very different to the lessons that you learn on your journey. So if you've been traveling recently and learnt a lesson, let me know. Anyway, that's all I have for you. Hopefully it won't be 12 months till I see you again. Have a good day. Oh, sorry, just got a text. On this. Going to dinner with the girls. Cool. All right, where were we?